everyone, and welcome to yet another insightful session hosted by Force Talks, the largest Salesforce community where the conversation never ends on all things Salesforce. I'm Pooja Roy, your host for today, and I'm thrilled to have you all join us for a webinar that promises to explore uncharted territories in the world of CRM analytics. Today, we have the pleasure of welcoming Varun Gulati, a seasoned expert in Salesforce Center of Excellence, DevOps Architect, and CRM Analytics Governance. Thank you, Varun, for joining us. We are honored to have you on board with us.
Yeah, thank you, Pooja. Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to discuss around my experience with CRM analytics with the Ohana. I mean, that's what the community is for, and thank you for the platform to share the same.
Thank you, Varun. We're honored to have you with us. Varun, we would like to, start by talking a bit about you. Like, how did you start your journey in the CRM world? What inspired you to start your Salesforce journey? If you can share a bit with us. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. It's like I guess it was somewhere around 2016, and I started in my current organization as a CBL administrator, and then I knew that it's gonna change now or then because Salesforce was picking up. It had picked up long back, and then I had that dilemma in mind that whether to onboard with because I'm an infrastructure guy, honestly, and onboarding to the SaaS platform, it's as challenging for me, because I'll lose a lot of things because I'm
Right.
used to that CLI. So that choice was to either go with Salesforce CRM or with the DevOps, which was my
Right.
core. So I thought, like, why not Salesforce DevOps, combining both? And so that's how it started. So I was included in the COE right from the scratch and got to experience the hell out of it. So it's
Right.
pretty challenging. So right now I own the tasks or architecture around DevOps, and like 3 4 year backs again few things, Salesforce sells a lot of stuff around,
Right.
everything is jazzy and you don't need developers to do it. But
Yeah.
you give access to business on a specific thing, let's say CRM analytics. It's designed by that way, you create dashboards, charts, data sets, and it'll look good. I mean, dashboards would look good, but at the back end, what's happening? It is kind of creating a chaos, and then our team was onboarded and we
Mm.
had to resolve many issues like their dashboards were not refreshing, there were errors. It was a lot of things to do, we had to channelize. So there were a lot of learnings around the same, the
Okay.
importance of governance and whatnot. So that's how CRM analytics happened. And past year, with that experience and with that visibility into the Ohana, fortunately, I landed into Tableau ambassadors in the stream for CRM analytics as well. So this is me right now. And so
That's amazing, Varun. This has been, like, very exciting journey for you. It looks like, and of course, Salesforce is, very interesting. Not just to
yeah,
people from the tech world. I understand the people who are not also from the tech world. This has been Salesforce has been a community, also something to learn for every one of us from every field you belong, and it has been interesting in that way. So yeah. So Varun, to kick
couldn't
off things.
agree anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So, Varun, to kick off things, I would request you to shed some light on the, beacon that guide us. Why is CRM analytics so critical in today's digital age? You also said, like, you have been feeling very exciting in working in the CRM analytics world. So, how does it illuminate the path for businesses, especially to not just survive but thrive in their markets? Yeah, that is something we're interested in knowing.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Like, let's say, why analytics in the first place?
Yeah.
CRM analytics is still down the road, but why analytics? So, I want to start off with a strong statement. An organization without data is
Mhm.
blind and deaf, to be honest, because it has nothing to see, and it has nothing to say because you don't have your customer stories. You cannot decide because you don't have facts. How,
Right.
data is the core ingredient why a CRM would exist. let's say you started on your journey into a CRM and you started off with Salesforce. Why would you want for any other software?
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years down the line, you have ample of data. If you're doing good business, you'll have ample of data. And having that much amount of data, like 3 to 4 years, and doing nothing about it, it's like you are sitting on a gold mine. So data is the gold mine right now for everywhere. You have so much of digitalization happening. You need data to take important decisions. So that is how a business needs to transform itself into a digitalized world. Like, you have data, you translate information from that data. From that information, you generate insights. What do you do with those insights? You generate your customer stories. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how you understand your customers, and then you decide you that helps in the decision making. So again, there are two types of companies.
Okay.
First company is who want to thrive, and by virtue of thriving, they understand their customer stories. And the
Right.
other type is the one who understand their customer stories, enhance on that, and ultimately they thrive. So
Right.
data is the core ingredient for a successful business.
Right.
And why would I want CRM analytics? You need, because software is as important as data. You need a good software, something which is native to your CRM, which would be less cumbersome to work
Mm-hmm.
upon or to configure. So CRM analytics. I know there's a lot of arguments why not Tableau or CRM analytics, and both can thrive. One, let's say Tableau as an enterprise BI tool, or CRM analytics, something core to Salesforce. So why would I, need to have CRM analytics? Because
Mm-hmm.
data is scattered all around. In that 3 years of implementation, I have done so many changes. The data
Mm-hmm.
is not consistent. Things are changing. No one takes care of adding a new field. What about the previous records? So there's a lot of scattering, due to which we miss out on the key information. I want real-time analysis on my data. How do I do
Mm-hmm.
that? I need to simply plug in CRM Analytics. Now, people will argue, why not Salesforce reports? Reports
Mm-hmm.
are good, can't deny. But what if you have more than four objects with a lot of relationships? Reports won't help there. And I need to understand my data, and as a business, I need an entire IT division to do it. I'll run some data cleansing, exercising, and whatnot. So why not have CRM analytics, which will guide me through that? Now I need to take, this is an early stage. I launched CRM analytics. What next?
Right.
I need to have some dashboards which will help me through the KPIs that help me decide something about my business. Like, KPIs can be geographic locations, KPI can be source of my leads, and KPIs can be why my opportunities are not getting close one. What is the reason behind it? So with all these KPIs in place, I can decide something good for my business, how
Mm-hmm.
I can improve it. And those decisions what I'm taking now are built on facts, are built on data, and that data is an should be organic. Again, it should not happen like if my organization cycle is Jan to December. Usually what happens, September to December month,
Mm-hmm.
people are simply logging in, closing opportunities because it needs to reflect in
Right.
the system. No,
Right.
Salesforce is far more than that. It helps you enhance the productivity of your sales engineer or service consultants to the
Right.
next level. Utilize that. Adopt Salesforce to its best potential. And once you are, let's say, with a good consulting supervision, you are, let's say, 6 months into CRM analytics, then is the time for you to launch your AI modeling, the MLs, the Einstein discovery, which will tell you your customer
Mm-hmm.
stories. And honestly, few things are going to surprise you. There are many things that are going to surprise you. Okay, actually, so this is the reason I'm losing on opportunities, and you'll be like, seriously,
Right.
it took me 4 years, but this is an organic growth. That's
Of
how,
course.
slow and steady wins the race. So not
Agree.
Rome wasn't in a day, and it should happen like this.
That's so much interesting. So I have been trying to understand as a layman here whatever you were sharing, and I was trying to understand. If I understand, I think like the developers and the audience we are very well have been able to understand this thing that of course you're getting a lot of reports through Salesforce reports as you said and the other things. But why when you if you want to some key information which is gonna give you results in the longer run, also if whatever you are implementing, of course we would like to have the full potential of it so that we can get the
Yeah.
success in our business. And in that case, of course, CRM analytics is going to help a lot, I guess. That's what I understood, and I think it's an eye opener, Varun. Fascinating to see how CRM analytics acts as a compass and guiding businesses towards customer centric decisions. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. It was a great uh, then so yeah, Varun, moving on to our next segment, which is governance principles and best practices. So could you share some light on the governance principles now, and what are best practices? Now you said that there is some points where you have to properly implement these only, then I guess we'll be able to get results and insights. So what are those best practices you would suggest? Yeah.
So just before we dwell onto the best practices,
Right.
how does a company onboard onto the licenses? Because again, as we discussed previously, what happens is Salesforce sells a jazzy product. Again, I'm going to quote it again, and as per Salesforce, it doesn't need any development because how that's how you sell, right? It won't need your effort. You simply need to drag and drop, and things will automatically be happening at the back end.
Right.
It puts a certain number of licenses, and business users would be creating stuff, dashboards, and it will give value, but eventually in the midst of doing these, eventually what will happen is that things at the back end will start to get a bit complex. So
Okay.
CRM analytics have dashboards. Those dashboards, the primary fundamental element with which dashboards are built are data sets. And the data sets, to build the data set previously, we used to have data flows. Now Salesforce is kind of transforming it to recipes. That's a good move because the recipes are more user friendly. And those recipes, everyone have the access, so anyone can create. Everyone is having dashboards on their local. So what is happening is Salesforce, with the level of licensing, Salesforce also mark limits onto what all you can do. And what will happen is eventually you won't be able to create any more data sets, or you won't be able to refresh the data sets. So one needs to understand before implementing a product what are its limitations, and
Right.
that's where the backend or the governance principles and the best practices come into picture. And that is where you need to have a governance body, kind of a COE, to guide business through that, because no one wants to limit the business continuity, but instead
Right.
we want to enhance it, and that's the purpose, right? So
Right.
we can go through some of the guiding principles over here.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, and it goes without, never ever develop in production environment. I know it will sound
Okay.
very tempting, but whether it's DevOps, whether it's a field
Okay.
or it's a dashboard, like, treat, because it's a metadata, right? And every metadata has its nature. You need to understand that nature. You need to have some sort of a pilot and a governance that will help you understand the nature of the product or metadata you are building upon. You
Mm-hmm.
need to understand what is the impact, that what all is happening in the backend, because a recipe, you have created something which is working now, maybe you're not even sure whether it's in beta, and let's say you build it, and three after 3 months Salesforce decides, okay, I released something in beta which was used, but then I had to stop due to some infrastructure limitations, and suddenly it will stop working. So always start from lower environment, have those built in lower environments. So no one is stopping you. Have that governance small model and an environment topology.
Mm-hmm.
So for business users, don't give them okay, and it goes with the use case you have, but build dashboards for your business rather than giving the flexibility to the business users to create a dashboards. And the reason why I'm saying that is the fact, because let's say you have 5 dashboards on a field that is going to be decommissioned, let's say after 6 months of time. Those dashboards are there and you have deleted the fields, but now the refresh is not happening because CRM Analytics is trying to search a field which has been deleted from Salesforce. So that replication won't happen, and
Mm-hmm.
the object replication is going to simply fail. So, and once you are trying to uncheck that field in CRM Analytics, you won't be allowed to do that because your business users have used it in a dashboard, and what will happen? It's in their private app,
Mm-hmm.
and for unfortunately right now such self-service tools are not yet created by Salesforce that you can see, you can delve into the private apps at that level. There was one feature which was available, but it gets very challenging with the number of fields when they are used in abundance, because again you have to log into every user whomsoever have the license.
Mm-hmm.
I can anticipate a creation of a use case for a managed package here, but
Right.
uh, again this is kind of a cumbersome process, and again I have to raise a Salesforce case to understand where all these fields have been used, uh, modify those dashboards, and then the entire cycle. So just understand this cost will be a lot more if you have that level of access managed for
Mm-hmm.
business admin users and functional users.
Right.
So these two are extremely important from governance standpoint. Other than these, you kind of there are many development guidelines like uh, use global filters, because again you have so many opportunities, let's
Mm-hmm.
say big enterprise 50, 60 million opportunities, and then uh, refreshing every time. All those have filters, global filters, by which will give more meaningful information by use of face setting among all the widgets.
Right.
Every app, create an app for a purpose, for a functional segment. Like you create an app for your sales users, create an app for your admins, create an app for field service executives. So every app should have purpose, and use permission sets into permission sets and respective permissions to grant access to specific apps to relevant audience. Another thing is, when it comes to data security, data visibility, please adhere to your company standards and respect those. So there are company standards and there are country level standards. One needs to understand that, by default, uh, CRM Analytics won't map your entire Salesforce OWD as it is, along with the sharing. So there are few things that you can do. Like one
Right.
of the things is sharing inheritance. So you can simply, it is itself, or says it's simple. Just mark a checkbox, and everything that's onto
Right.
Salesforce will be applied as it is onto CRM Analytics, but it never does. There are many limitations from the descriptors perspective. So, but sharing
Okay.
inheritance is something. So, if some company is starting off early into CRM Analytics, they can start off with sharing inheritance, but eventually, if they have a good roadmap on analytics, it may break.
Okay.
That is one approach. Another approach is role flattening, with the help of which, so the role hierarchy, uh, whatever is there on Salesforce side, so the visibility of data onto CRM Analytics is in the sense of that role hierarchy. So you need to model your data flows or recipes according to that. So you can kind of can configure role flattening into your recipes and leverage it. Third one is my favorite, and that is use security predicates. So you have your own custom configuration of what anyone can see in CRM Analytics that can complement your Salesforce configuration, or it can vary from it depending on the business criteria, qualifications,
Mhm.
and your requirement. So these are at the top the governance and best practices that you should adopt. Other than these there are so many, but again, it will come in due course of time. Use uh,
Right.
reusable queries. Don't build without global filters, and have a name. Imagine
Mhm.
what you are producing, and just don't simply build without knowing the business value add.
Business value as it. That was amazing actually, Varun. You shared it like very briefly. I have two questions. One was around the applications you said, so create applications for every, like you said, there are people who are working for field services and have an application for them, or there are people, working on accounts and marketing or sales have an application. So you're talking here about the teams with the different teams you're talking about, right? Or you're referring to? That is what I want to know.
Yes, yes. So
Yeah.
basically, what happens is Salesforce CRM Analytics also gives you you want a quick start, right? Everyone wants a quick start, so it gives you
Yeah.
some templates using which you can create the applications out of the box. You don't need any configuration.
Right.
Like it will give you a sales application or field service or service applications and
Mm.
relevant dashboards in correspondence to the user personas. So
Right.
you can start there. So, and from the governance standpoint, just make sure, like, let's say you have created an application for field service agent. So that doesn't need, a sales rep may not need an access to it. And
Yeah.
it's simply, and giving an access may be simply violating, data privacy obligation. So one needs to be very careful about that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's a very comprehensive overview, Varun. Also, there's just one thing I wanted to ask. Let's say as an owner of an organization, or maybe owner of a department itself, I want to implement CRM analytics. Do you think that I might need help of a consultant at some point of time, or is it possible on my end or my team's end to fix on things, some of the things you may at the initial stage, I guess, right?
So yeah, I see. If you have a target product in your mind, what you want to build, and
Hmm.
the inbuilt application templates, those are available in CRM Analytics.
Right.
So you can just go through. I can share that how it is. So
Mhm.
during the
Okay.
demo, I'll share that. If that
Right.
suits your need, you can simply use the configuration screen to build it. And but again, if you need anything more than that, and
Mhm.
you are maybe not from a technical background, let's say someone from business, then and you have a roadmap in mind that okay,
Mhm.
I will get lay this foundation, and then I want this.
Right.
Definitely go for some sort of consulting services there.
Okay, that's great. That's something I wanted to know. Thank you so much. That was a comprehensive overview, Varun. So moving on, we would take a glimpse into the practical world because I have so many curiosities around it. So yeah, Varun, you have talked about this theoretical aspects. Now, if you could give us a brief demo or walk us through one of your projects. So yeah,
Sure. Let me share my screen and let me know once you are able to see it.
yes,
Let me know once you are able to see the screen.
yes, we can see your screen, Varun. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I kind of created two orgs prior. The rate source.com. So this one is my source ops two. So this is my source org,
Okay.
and This is my target org. So let me just delete one dashboard here. And you have this dashboard. So let's do something. So I have this dashboard. Let's say I have this dashboard in ForceOps 3. Okay. And a simple dashboard, it is built on an opportunity object data set into Salesforce, a simple visual with containing one conditional formatting. Okay.
Okay.
Now, let's say I want this dashboard in my ForceOps 2 or so. This is from a standpoint of migration. If I'm migrating the dashboards, I need to, let's say I'm creating a CI pipeline. Being from a
Mm-hmm.
background, this it was indeed an amazing challenge that we faced, and we had to create a pipeline for CRM analytics deployments.
Right.
So, so this is my local. So right now I have a few connections. I have configured source and target in my local, and let's see what this gives me. So I'm doing vice versa here. So I'm migrating a dashboard from my target to my source.
Okay.
Yep. All right. So let's see. I don't have this dashboard right now. So what I'll do, uh, I'll fetch this dashboard first. So what is the dashboard? How would you get to know the name? Because over here it's like demo with four
Uh,
stocks. But what is its API name? For the API name, you will get it from Workbench. So I people are usually comfortable with it. So I'll simply copy
mhm.
the API name from the Workbench, and this is kind of goes into the how you get the REST API and get the API name.
Right.
So demo with four stocks, I will simply retrieve it onto my local. Yeah, uh, because I'm deploying from target to source.
Mhm.
Hmm, So yeah, so I have it on my local. Now this is the API. Now what will happen in CRM Analytics? It's important to understand that if I want, so what will happen if I'll simply deploy my dashboard?
Mhm.
The formatting won't come in, even if it is a color formatting or a number formatting. It is not usually deployed along with the dashboards onto the target environment. So
Okay.
there is a metadata type in CRM Analytics by the name of XMD. So that is an extended metadata. So every entity, usually a dashboard or a component or a data set, has its own XMD. So it will be with the same name. So what I need to do, I need to also fetch the XMD of this particular dashboard.
Mhm.
So it's so this is if I shared with you the XMD. So if you see, this is the color coding and everything.
Right. Right.
So, but this won't be there in the dashboard. So let
Okay.
me what I'll do, because Salesforce has a roadmap that eventually things will come everything to Madapi. Again, it's a debatable topic. So, but for deployment purpose, what I'll do, I'll create a deployable using this convert
Mhm.
into Madapi format, and then we'll see to deploy into the source org and see how it behaves.
Okay.
Source was successfully converted, so I get this to deploy folder, and if I see, so I have one wave XMD corresponding to the wave dashboard.
Right.
Now I simply need to deploy it, but just I'll change the org source, and I'll change the
Mhm.
this, and just to share that in the source, that is force ops 2, I don't have any dashboard in the shared app. So I've
Mhm.
created it in this shared app. But again, if it's some app which is not existing in your org where you are trying to deploy, you need to migrate the app as well. So Wave application. So again, I've copied it and let's see if it deploys. Source. Yeah, it is trying to deploy. Yeah. So let's see if it has come in here. Yeah, lucky
Yeah.
me. Usually demos don't work, but again, it
No,
did.
it's good. Yeah.
So you see, so this is in the in corresponding. The data is definitely different, and accordingly,
Right.
my conditional formatting has come in. So I
Okay.
can also demo if I'll kind of skip if I'll skip the wave XMD,
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
the formatting won't come in. But those who are watching can definitely try it out. They can skip the
Yes.
wave XMD and the formatting won't come. This is the biggest challenge of a CI pipeline usually.
Oh, okay.
So, so this is a quick demo where you see how you can create a pipeline, and depending on your dashboards and your
Mhm.
deployment frequency, you can set up even a sprint procedure where
Mhm.
you can create user stories for dashboards as well. That all depends on the size of requirements and the enterprise where you are operating from. Few things may
Right.
not be essential, but if it's a good size organization, definitely that's the need of the hour.
Of course, it means like you can do a lot of things over here, and of course, it's going to be give you good results. That was very interesting, Varun. It was invaluable. Seeing CRM analytics in action, understanding the challenges and strategies firsthand makes all the difference. So it is one thing to talk about, and these concepts when you show it, it's another. It's like real
Yeah,
change. Thank you
yeah.
so much for the demo. So yeah, Varun, we have been trying to learn about CRM analytics, and we have got a very good view from you. And it's time to share some tips and tricks. What would you share? If you can share some, yeah.
Yeah, I can share some tips and tricks because I've struggled a lot with
Yeah.
CRM analytics, and because I knew there is a P1 that needs to be sorted, and there were times I had no idea where to look about, and
Right.
that's where the power of the community comes into picture. I joined trailhead groups, I ping people, I buzz them literally, and I
Mhm.
may have made someone pretty much annoyed. I'm pretty sure on that. And but the
That's
community
commendable.
has been helpful like anything,
Yeah.
because they have the community has been a mentor to me, because if
Yes.
you talk about from the ambassador Prabhat, he's been helpful, and Anna. So what I've learned, I'll definitely share. So
Mm-hmm.
to start off, there is an amazing app in CRM Analytics, which is the data catalog app. So,
Okay.
the structure of CRM Analytics is so much, complicated something there, and there's no relationship. So,
Mm-hmm.
with data catalog app, you can establish those relationships. It gets easy to know what the design and, high level design from my
Mm-hmm.
dashboards to my most granular component is. The
Mm-hmm.
entire lineage flow you are able to establish, like how apps are related to dashboards, how dashboards are related to data sets. A data
Right.
set may be related to recipe, which may be related to data set, and that's a recursive flow there till we reach to a
Right.
field object. So data catalog, please check it out. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely going to help someone who's struggling is establishing the relationships. And
Okay. Catalog.
that is one thing. If you are a UI guy, and if you are a CLI guy, you are like me. Again, SFDC Mohan C plugin. Undoubtedly, it's one of the greatest contributions to CRM analytics over the CLI, that helps you analyze
Mm-hmm.
how the fields are used across CRM analytics dashboards, how how your data sets are used, which data sets are not used, how those fields are being used actually in the dashboards, or they are
Mhm.
simply just for the heck of it. So there is a link in again, but Mohan C plugin documentation is not very good, and
Okay.
being part of the community and the ambassador program, I have requested for a better documentation. So if I'll definitely share, and that was the intent, to seek a good documentation. So if I'll get, I'll definitely share with the community, and if not, I'll create myself. So
That's.
that is for the Mohan C plugin. There are many
Mhm.
things which are bundled into that. Do explore it. And another thing is, there are probabilities in which you can load your dashboard faster from the networking aspect, because how the flow is with the HTTP protocol, what happens is, let's say you have 22 queries in your dashboard. So what, how
Mhm.
Salesforce does it is, over CRM Analytics, so it sends queries in a group of six. So what will happen is, so that there are, for 22 queries, there are going to be around four calls onto the server
Mhm.
to get the answer to the queries. So more the number of queries, more the bundling and more calls, and again, the slower is the dashboard.
Mhm.
So there are ways in which you can enable the HTTP2, via which what will happen is, there's no such limit. You can fire all queries at once.
Okay.
That
Okay.
happens as with HTTP2, and with CDN, you can with CDN, what will happen is, you will store the cache memory onto specific geographical locations and onto your
Mhm.
query. Or the
Mhm.
page loads, how it will happen is that it'll get the data center closest to you, and from there it will fetch and give you the response, which will be a lot more faster than getting it from one geographical location. So these are few enhancement possibilities via controlling your firewall and networking. So
Right.
there are many more from the developers aspect. There are so many more. Don't always reassess. Don't simply do. Use an existing query. Don't duplicate data sets, and think about the your backend engine's runtime. If you think on all those fronts, then definitely you're gonna go good. So to sum
Of
up, these
course.
are bits of tips and tricks that I wanted to share.
Yes, these are some incredible tips, Varun. I'm sure our viewers will find these insights not just useful but transformative as well. You have shared some great tips actually, and also as you shared, the community over here, the Salesforce community is so welcoming for everyone. We have even who are not from technical world and who are actually struggling to learn things, and you guys have been so welcoming to everyone who wants to learn. And this is what I would like to share. If you can share how people can reach out to you if they want to take some more knowledge about CRM analytics. Of course they can connect with you on LinkedIn. So yeah, you have
So
Arun also shares, I guess, videos as well in the
yeah.
Force Ops channel. Yeah. So
Yeah,
yeah.
so I started it with a mission, and that
Mhm.
was to share with the community my experiences, because translating from another technology to here to Salesforce being so there is a good number of people involved in Salesforce. If I talk about,
Right.
so you have,
Yes.
and getting into DevOps, it was very challenging because there are product-based companies for the DevOps. You have Closum,
Right.
you have Copado, and you have GearSet. You have
Mhm.
so many, AutoRabbit, and they all are running in for competition every day. They have to build something. So reach out to me on any of the handlers. I'm ready to help the community, and I guess it is an ethical responsibility on all of us. And I guess such platforms like Force Talks are
Mhm.
contributing big time, kind of giving the platform to share our knowledge. So
Yeah.
that's how it should be, that we stand up for each other and we contribute to the Ohana. Feel free to reach out me on any of best connect would be LinkedIn, and I want to
Mhm.
create more content. So if you want, you can, if you like the content, you can follow Force of my YouTube channel. And there are so much there's so much content available. The only thing is now is an ethical responsibility for all on
Mhm.
all of us to channelize the content.
Mhm. That's great. The best thing about the community, Salesforce community, I like is you guys, the leaders, the experts who have been there for so long, they are also senior experts. So this motivates you guys also to help out other people so that they don't have to go through and they struggle so much with the things you have already done. So that's great. Thank you, Varun. I can't thank you enough for sharing your wisdom with us today. It's been an enlightening conversation with you. I believe our viewers are walking away with a valuable knowledge. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, Pooja, for the opportunity, and thank you to the entire Force Stocks team who are doing it for good. And the value, I guess, will is going to be realized.
Yes, yes. Of course, we would love to host you again because we have a lot to learn from you. It's absolutely clear. To our viewers, thank you for joining us. Remember, the journey into CRM analytics is ongoing. So stay curious and follow Force Talks for more such engaging, insightful webinars. Have a great day ahead.